January 25, 11:53 p.m. Clovis, New Mexico. The night was bone dry and quiet to quiet. Jacob Morin, a 42-year-old divorcee who had moved to Clovis for a quieter life, had just turned off his television. The static flickered for a moment before vanishing into black dot. He walked through his dim trailer, flipping off lights, his dog Duke trotting behind him. Then came the first knock. Tap. Tap. It wasn't urgent. More like the kind of knock a kid would make, hesitant and polite. Jacob glanced at the clock. 11:53 p.m. Who the hell knocks on someone's door this late? He peered through the peephole and saw nothing, no one, just a dry, empty lot and the swaying porch light. He opened the door a crack, Duke growling low. Then he saw them, two kids, maybe 10 or 11 years old, stood at the edge of the porch. No jackets, no shoes, just jeans, dirty shirts, and pale, still faces. "We're cold," the girl said. "Can we come in?" the boy added. Their voices were flat, mechanical, like someone reading a script. Jacob frowned. "Where are your parents?" Silence then. They both took a step forward at the same time. The porch light flickered. Duke barked once and backed up, tail between his legs. Jacob's gut twisted. Something was wrong. Then he saw their eyes. No whites, no irises, no pupils, just pure black, like wet ink soaking through paper. "Let us in," the boy said, louder now. Jacob slammed the door so fast he almost broke his own hand. He locked the deadbolt, pulled the chain across, and stumbled back. Duke was growling. Fur bristled. Then came the second knock. Tap. Tap. No pounding. Just that same soft, eerie rhythm. Jacob turned off all the lights. The knock came. Again, and again, and again, until it stopped. The silence after was worse than the sound itself. He didn't sleep that night. Didn't dare. But the next morning, he checked the porch. There were no footprints in the dirt, only burn marks on the welcome mat. January 10th, 2025 to 3:02 a.m. Jacob had drifted into a shallow, twitching kind of sleep on the couch blanket over his chest. Duke curled beside him. His shotgun rested across his lap, just in case. But no dreams came, only the feeling that something was watching him. The sound returned faint at first. Scrape, scrape not. From the door this time, from the window. Jacob froze. The couch sat directly across from the living room window, but the blinds were drawn. A thin sliver of moonlight spilled through the gap. And in that gap, he saw something move. A shadow, no taller than a child. He crept toward the window, silent, heart pounding like a war drum in his ears. He pulled the blinds. Two faces stared back at him, pressed against the glass, unmoving, their skin almost gray in the moonlight. The same boy and girl. The girl smiled, her teeth too white, too perfect, unnaturally straight. "You have to let us in," she whispered. Her mouth didn't move. Jacob stumbled back. The boy raised one hand and slowly dragged his fingernail across the glass, leaving behind a black, oily smear. "Don't you want to help us?" he said. This time, Jacob heard it, not through his ears but in his head. They were inside his thoughts. He grabbed the shotgun, pointed it at the window, but when he looked again, they were gone. No footsteps, no sounds of running away. Just the desert wind and the buzz of power lines. He opened the door, in a panic. Duke barked and followed. Nothing but sand, dry brush, and darkness. And at the edge of the yard, in the distance, two figures standing, motionless in the road, watching, waiting. He closed the door and nailed a plank across it. He didn't go to work the next day. Didn't answer his phone by January 11th. Jacob was losing it. His phone kept turning itself on, making calls he didn't dial. His landline rang once at midnight, just one ring every night, since the caller ID just said, "unknown." When he finally answered, all he heard was static, and in the background, a child's voice whispering, "Let us in, let us in, let us in." He unplugged the phone, but the static didn't stop. It came from the television next, from the radio, from the damn smoke detector. Jacob tried calling the police. They said someone would stop by, but no one came. That night, Duke wouldn't stop growling at the back door. Jacob got up, shotgun ready, and crept toward the noise. The back door was wide open. He never left it unlocked. In the doorway stood Duke, shaking, whimpering and staring at something outside. Jacob stepped forward, aimed the shotgun. Then he saw them. Not 2-4, now all children, all with jet black eyes. They stood in the yard, perfectly still, their mouths whispering in unison, but with no sound coming out. And then Jacob felt it burning behind his eyes, like fire spreading through his skull. He screamed, dropped the shotgun, fell to his knees. The kids didn't move, but their eyes glowed for a second, a white, sickly flash. Then, just like that, they were gone again. Duke wouldn't come near him after that. He stayed in the corner, whining. The next morning, Jacob looked in the mirror. The veins in his eyes were black. January 12, 2025 to 2:20 p.m. Jacob hadn't slept. He couldn't. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw them standing in his hallway, peering from behind furniture, whispering inside his thoughts. He needed help, answers. He drove into town, sunglasses over his bloodshot eyes, hood pulled low. He looked half dead already. His destination, the dusty, underfunded public library. It wasn't random. The girl, the first one, had said something that stuck in his brain like a tick. "We got lost out here a long time ago." The library's archives had back issues of the Nevada Register. On a hunch, Jacob searched for missing children along the desert, highways stretching back decades. The results were worse than he imagined. Children had been going missing along Route 86 as far back as 1952. Always the same story. Small towns, late nights, rural roads, kids last seen knocking on doors asking for help. Some were reported as runaways. Others vanished without a trace. A particularly disturbing article from October 19, 1966, told the story of a farmer who claimed 2 children had come to his doorstep asking to use the phone. The next morning, the house was empty, the family gone, pets dead, and a strange message scratched into the wall with fingernails. "They let us in." The kids described matched exactly. Boy and girl, pale, completely black eyes. Jacob's hands shook as he snapped photos of every article. On his way out, the librarian, a hunched old man with cataracts, called out, "You best forget whatever. You just read. Some things follow you if you dig too deep." Jacob stared at him. The man added, "They come in twos, but there's always more. You don't see them till it's too late." Back home, Jacob tried to convince himself it was just some mass hallucination, urban legends, and fear taking root in his brain. But then the walls started breathing. It began that night, just past 3 a.m. Again, when all the terrifying things seemed to happen. A soft whispering sound came from inside the drywall. Not rats, not the wind. Whispers. Children's voices chanting softly, rhythmically. "You saw them, you know them, you belong to them." The air in the room got cold, freezing, like the inside of a freezer. Duke howled and ran to the back door, pawing at it to be let out. Jacob opened it. The dog sprinted into the night and never came back, into the night and never came back. Then, inside the house, he turned, shotgun in hand. Heart, THUDDING. Down the hallway stood 3 children now. The first girl, the boy with the crooked smile, and a third, taller, older looking, maybe 13. Long hair matted with dirt. Her face was blank, but her mouth was moving fast, like she was screaming. Though no sound came out. Jacob aimed. "Leave me alone," he shouted. The children didn't move, but the house shook. The walls cracked. Light bulbs exploded. Then they spoke in unison. voices layered and echoing in ways no child ever could. "You're already ours." He pulled the trigger. The blast lit the hallway, but when the smoke cleared, no bodies, no blood, just darkness, and written across the wall in thick, oily black, "Next time, you'll say yes." January 13th, 2025 to 8:44 a.m. Jacob didn't sleep. He didn't clean up the shattered glass, didn't call the police. Who would he tell? That children with pitch black eyes appeared in his hallway, whispering in unison. That he fired a shotgun at ghosts. Instead, he drove through the dust-choked roads, past old ruins of gas stations and churches long abandoned. He followed a whisper of memory from the articles in the library. One name appeared twice. Otis Granger, survivor, recluse, the only man on record who claimed to have let the black-eyed children inside and lived to talk about it. Jacob found him in a battered trailer nestled behind a junkyard in Walker Canyon, just outside the old border of Silver Hollow, the ghost town the government had buried after the mining disasters. He knocked. The man who answered looked more crypt than human, gaunt face. Thin skin, yellowed eyes, fingers shaking from something deeper than age. Jacob held out a photo of the kids taken from one of the articles. Granger didn't look at the photo, just said, "You heard the knocking, didn't you?" Jacob nodded. "They asked to come in. I said no." Granger closed the door halfway, but not before whispering, "Good. That's the only reason you're still standing here." Jacob stepped forward. "What happens when you do let them in?" The old man went still. He opened the door wide, revealing the interior of the trailer lined wall to wall in mirrors. Hundreds of them, all angles. Some covered in salt, others broken and taped back together. "You don't see them once they're in," Granger said. "Not with your eyes. Anyway, they change things. Not fast, not loud, quiet like first. Your house, then your memories, then your soul." Jacob shivered. "But why? What are they?" Otis chuckled darkly. "We don't have a name for them. Never did. They wear children's skins like coats. It's how they get close. Kindness is a doorway. That's the trick." He sat down, eyes unfocused. "They feed on permission. They're not demons. They're worse. Ancient things, old as the wind in dead towns." Jacob leaned forward. "How did you survive?" Granger didn't answer. Instead, he pulled up his shirt, reeling sigils carved deep into his skin. Symbols Jacob didn't recognize, drawn in shaky, desperate lines. "You don't survive. You just delay it. My wife said yes in 1974. I carved. These two keep them out. I don't sleep anymore. If I do, they come through the mirrors." He gripped Jacob's hand with strength that didn't belong in his bones. "Don't ever let them in. If they knock again, burn your house. Run. Never say yes." Jacob left shaken, unsure if he'd spoken to a madman or a prophet. That night, the knocking returned. 3 a.m. Jacob lay still in bed, breathing slowly, listening. Knock, 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 not at the front door this time, or the windows at the bathroom mirror. He got up, creeping barefoot across the wooden floor. He reached the bathroom and flicked on the light. The mirror was fogged, not from steam. He hadn't showered in the condensation. 5 words were scrawled in the haze. "You almost let us in." Then the reflection blinked, but Jacob hadn't. The figure in the mirror wasn't his own anymore. It was a child, smiling. Jacob smashed the glass with a wrench, but the knocking only grew louder. January 15th, 2025 to 9:06 p.m. Jacob boarded up every mirror in the house. He unplugged electronics, burned sage, salted the windowsills, crossed himself. Even though he hadn't stepped into a church in years, it didn't matter. That night, they returned, not with a knock this time, with a whisper. From inside the walls, from the cracks in the ceiling, from the pipes. "Let us in. Jacob. We're cold. We're scared. We miss our parents." The air grew thick, suffocating, humming like a live wire. The shadows no longer stayed in corners, they moved, gathered, took form. He saw one child's silhouette standing just outside his bedroom window. No wind, no blinking, just the slow turn of its head. Jacob screamed, fired his shotgun, and ran out. Into the desert. Back to the place where it began. Mile marker, 239. The old highway west of Silver Hollow. 10:18 p.m. HE reached the stretch of road where the reports had started, where the truckers spoke of phantom hitchhikers, black-eyed figures, drifting between lanes at night. There, on the shoulder, stood 3 children, 2 girls. 1 boy. Same black HOODIES, same pale skin, same eyes, voids where innocence should be. They didn't move, just stood. Jacob stepped forward. "Why me?" he asked, voice breaking. "Why now?" The boy spoke. "You saw us, most forget, you remembered. What do you want?" The girl in the center tilted her head. "An invitation." Jacob reached into his coat, gripping a flask of lighter fluid and the box of matches Otis had given him. He could end it here, burn himself, burn them, end the story. But something stopped him. They smiled, not like children, like predators. "We already got in," the boy whispered. "You answered." And Jacob remembered the library. The moment he heard the knocking years ago. The moment he said yes. That's all it took. 11:03 p.m. Authorities found Jacob's car the next morning, abandoned in the sand, keys still in the ignition. No sign of a struggle. No tracks in or out. Only the word welcome carved into the hood in deep, straight lines. They found the house empty. Windows broken. Mirrors shattered. The bathroom wall covered in charcoal-like handprints, small, child-sized hands pressed in from the inside. And above the bed, scorched into the ceiling in black soot. Let us in. Epilogue. In the following weeks, Walker County reported a rash of strange disappearances, all from rural homes, all on stormless nights. Every family reported hearing knocking at odd hours, soft, patient, polite. They said no one was there, but their children, They began to draw things. Black-eyed kids, standing in hallways, whispering behind doors. By spring, 24 homes were empty, and every time the sheriff's department investigated, they found the same words written somewhere on the walls. "We were invited." Walls, "We were invited."